I'd like to thank you for joining us for the online open house and live question and answer session about the MT200 Bridge Preservation Project. As the attendees are coming into the room now, we'll get started with the presentation. My name's Brandon Coates. I am with RBCI. I'm the Public Involvement Manager, contracted with MDT to help provide project information and to gather public input about the project. I'll be facilitating the online meeting today. The Montana Department of Transportation is using online meetings and presentations to engage with the public rather than in-person meetings due to community health and safety concerns during the COVID-19 pandemic. We do look forward to meeting in person again in the future. During today's session, MDT and project team members will provide an overview of the project, present the anticipated repairs for the bridge, and talk about the next steps in the project. A live question and answer session will be held immediately following the presentation to answer your questions. In order to participate in the Q&A session, first locate the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. Once you click on that, it will allow you to type in and submit questions at any time during the presentation. We will hold all the questions and answer them after the presentation live. Again, that Q&A button's at the bottom of your screen and you can type in there at any time during the presentation. The online session will be recorded and a copy of the recording will be posted on the project website. The recording from Tuesday's session is on the website. We invite you to ask your neighbors and coworkers and friends that couldn't attend the session to view the presentation and then participate in an online survey. And that survey again is on the website at www.mdt.mt.gov/pubinvolve/MT200bridge. And that website address will be shown at the end of the presentation as well. The online survey will be available until November 1st for comments. Now I'm going to turn over the microphone to the MDT pre-construction engineer for the Missoula District, Jacqueline Smith. Jacqueline?
Thank you, Brandon. As Brandon said, my name is Jacqueline Smith, and I am the new pre-construction engineer for the Missoula District. And I want to start off by saying it is unfortunate that we're not able to meet in person to have this open house. So hopefully this can still help answer your questions, and maybe in the future we'll be able to meet in person. With me, I have the project team or some members of the project team, which includes people from MDT, Forsgren, and RBCI. So I'll just go ahead and start with MDT members. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure, Jacqueline. This is Terry Voller. I'm here in Helena with MDT. I work for the Consultant Design Bureau, and my job is basically to be the liaison between the two consultants, RBCI and Forsgren, and our Bridge Bureau to make sure that we're getting the product that we want.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Carlson. I also work for MDT. I am the Bridge Area Engineer for the Missoula District. I work with Terry to just help ensure that the consultants' plans and specifications meet MDT standards.
Thank you. And moving on with Forsgren, if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Brent Schiller. I'm the Forsgren Associates project manager.
Hi, I'm Adam Bass. I'm with Forsgren Associates as well, and I was involved with the traffic control layouts for the bridge.
Hi, this is Patrick Wickman with Forsgren Associates. I'm an environmental scientist that did the environmental review.
Thank you. And RBCI.
Hello again, everybody. This is Brandon Coates. I'm the Public Involvement Manager, so my role is to provide public information to you about the project and to gather your input for the design team.
Good afternoon. My name is Kate Reed, and I also work for RBCI, and I'll be helping with the Q&A session this afternoon.
All right. Well, MDT's mission is to serve the public by providing a transportation system and services that emphasize quality, safety, cost effectiveness, economic vitality, and sensitivity to the environment. MDT maintains a staff with the resources and technical expertise needed to perform the workload for the majority of the state's transportation projects. With that, you may be asking, if that's the case, why do you have consultant services included with this project? And the answer is that we consider consultants an extension to MDT's staff. They help in a variety of ways, either by providing technical expertise that we may not have on our staff at the time, or if our MDT staff is at full capacity with workload, we can use a consultant team to help take on additional projects without sacrificing schedules to the other projects. With that, I will go ahead and flip over to the next slide to start the conversation about the project. So we are currently in the early stages of evaluating the maintenance needs for the Montana 200 bridge located approximately 2 miles south of Knoxon over the Montana Rail Link tracks. I want to emphasize that while we are evaluating the maintenance needs for this, it does not mean the bridge is not safe. The bridge is very safe, and you are perfectly fine driving over it. It's just that the bridge was constructed in 1957 and it is due for some maintenance repairs. We first need to evaluate what is needed for the maintenance repairs, and then we can perform those maintenance measures. Similar to your car, you usually take it in for that 5,000 or 3,000 oil change, and then occasionally you have that 50,000, 100,000 major maintenance repair. Same thing with our bridges. We have smaller maintenance needs that pop up, and then we've got the bigger ones that need to happen occasionally as well. This project is being tied with another project that's evaluating 11 other bridges on Highway 37 between Libby and Eureka. We often bundle projects with similar scope like this because we see some benefits to it, especially with reducing costs. Just get the economy of scale, both in developing projects and then also constructing them. We also get to have a consistency during construction, and we should be able to deliver these on a sooner, quicker schedule. With that, I will pass it over to Andy, who will get into more specifics for you.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Hi, everybody. This is Andy Carlson again. I'm going to quickly walk through the project's process and anticipated schedule. It was decided to organize the project schedule and process into a two-phase approach, an evaluation phase and a design phase. The evaluation stage started earlier this year and included office and field evaluations of each bridge. All the information from the evaluation was carefully considered to develop repair and rehabilitation needs and was documented in the draft bridge report. The intent of this public meeting is to share the findings and recommendations in the draft report with the public and request any public comments. The next step will be to finalize the bridge evaluation report. In the final report, there'll be a section that documents the public comments from today and discusses any items that MDT should consider during the design process. The design phase is anticipated to start in the beginning of 2021 and is anticipated to be completed later that year. In the design phase, the construction plans will be developed. The design phase will also include an opportunity for public comment prior to finalizing the design. The current schedule suggests the earliest construction could occur is in 2022. However, the funding for this project is not available in 2022, so construction will likely occur at some point after that, depending on when funding becomes available. Okay, while I still have the stage, I also wanted to touch briefly on MDT's Bridge Bureau's organization and the services we provide. The MDT Bridge Bureau is tasked with keeping Montana's bridges safe, resilient, economical, and reliable. Similar to this project's two-phase development approach, the Bridge Bureau is organized into two sections, the Bridge Management section and the Bridge Design section. MDT's Bridge Management section provides condition inspection and load rating evaluation for the 5,000 plus public bridges in the state. The Bridge Management section also evaluates and analyzes overweight permit loads and performs bridge maintenance on state-owned bridges. MDT's Bridge Design section provides design and engineering management on bridge replacement, rehabilitation, and preservation projects. The Bridge Design section also establishes and maintains design criteria and standards, participates in research projects, and promotes design initiatives to improve bridge performance and value. Thank you for letting me speak a little here today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Brent.
Thanks, Andy. Well, hello, everyone. My name again is Brent Schiller. I'm with Forsgren Associates. So our firm was tasked with performing a field visit to this bridge on Montana 200, reviewing of the field data along with data from MDT, and then determining whether the bridge needed a deck replacement or a patch and overlay type of repair. We are then tasked to prepare the plans package for the work to be done by a contractor. As part of the field work, our team not only looked at the bridge, but the needed traffic control to perform the repair work, the potential environmental impacts, and if guardrail at the bridge ends needs to be repaired or replaced. So I want to describe the work involved with the two main repair types I just mentioned. So a patch and overlay type of repair involves removing unsound concrete or concrete that is saturated with high levels of de-icing salt, which will eventually cause deterioration. We then patch needed areas and provided a concrete overlay on the entire deck area. A deck replacement is just how it sounds, a complete removal of the bridge deck and then replacing it with a new reinforced concrete deck. So at this point, we have performed the field visits and prepared a draft report that MDT is reviewing. We are anticipating the bridge will need a full deck replacement. So looking at this next slide here, we anticipate that the work for the deck replacement is going to be performed one half at a time. So work will occur in one half while traffic uses the other half with traffic control in place to regulate traffic moving across the bridge. And our traffic control engineer, Adam, will talk about that in a few minutes. So our field crews performed a sounding test on the deck that's called chaining, which indicates the deck surface to be 77% delaminated, or about 3/4 of the deck area. This means the concrete is separating from the reinforcing steel, likely due to rusting of the reinforcing steel, which expands and causes the concrete to separate and eventually break up. MDT's maintenance crews also told us that the deck is constantly in need of repair work. And as you can see in the example photos on the slide, the concrete deck shows visible signs of previous patching and ongoing deterioration. So taking all that information together, we've concluded this deck is in a severe state of deterioration and needs more extensive work than just a patch and overlay. And the high amount of delamination along with that constant need for maintenance makes this a good candidate for a full deck replacement. Now, since we'll be removing that deck, we'll also remove the existing bridge rail and upgrade it to the most current rail. And again, I'll just emphasize what Jacqueline said earlier, the bridge is safe to drive on. It's just some heavy maintenance that needs to be done given the age. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Adam Bass to talk about the traffic control.
Hey, thank you, Brent. So again, I'm Adam Bass with Forsgren Associates, and the project team anticipates traffic during construction of the Montana 200 bridge to be controlled using a two-way single lane traffic configuration that will close one lane at a time. This will allow for vehicles to use one lane while construction operations are conducted within the other lane. And as you can see at the bottom of this screen here, we have icons that represent the temporary traffic control signals we plan on using. And these temporary traffic signals will be placed a distance from the work zone to safely allow movement of vehicles through the construction zone during those construction operations. And so this traffic layout is intended to keep it simple and that concludes the traffic control section for this presentation. And with that, I'd like to pass it off to Pat Wickman, who is going to talk about the environmental considerations of the project. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. This is Pat Wickman with Forsgren. So as part of all MDT construction projects, MDT is required to prepare an environmental study to document the effects of the action, or in this case, the project, on the social, economic, and natural environment. Guidance and rules for this comes under the Montana Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA, and the National Environmental Policy Act, referred to often as NEPA. NEPA is applicable when there are federal funds that may be used to pay for the project, which come through the Federal Highway Administration. The size and scope of these effects, that is the significance of those impacts from the proposed action, will dictate the type and magnitude of the environmental document that is prepared. So for this bridge project, MDT has had Forsgren conduct a site investigation to look for potential environmental concerns and document them in an environmental baseline study. Our scope included looking at wetlands nearby, bird nests on the bridge, the potential for environmental contamination, such as oil spills, and the ability for wildlife to cross under the bridge. As well as this, we looked at potential staging area locations. As I said before, this information is summarized in the MDT draft report. So the results are, our review showed that the bridge did not have a significant or serious enough concerns for us to not assume that the project could be reviewed and permitted with an environmental study known as a categorical exclusion. These CADEX documents show no significant impact from the proposed project, which also means that MDT does not need to analyze alternatives to the proposed action. Future steps in the environmental process will be for MDT to prepare the CADEX document, which will also include documentation of the project's public outreach process. So with that, I turn the presentation back to Brandon to talk more about the next steps of the project.
Thank you, Pat. I'd like to remind everybody that's participating that the question and answers box, you can ask those questions at any time. I do know we received a question, but please feel free to ask your questions and we'll answer those here shortly. So public input collected as part of this online open house and through the online survey, as well as the continued environmental and design analysis, will be considered in the development of the design and the planning for the construction in the next steps. MDT plans to hold in-person public meetings if and when possible in the future to share information about the project and to gather information that'll help in the development of the plans. The next public meeting is planned for 2021 to present those design plans. Hopefully they'll be in person. Construction, as Andy spoke about earlier, could begin as early as 2022, but it's depending on funding. MDT is planning to use a variety of methods to communicate with the public throughout the design and construction of the project. Some of those methods include these online meetings, in-person meetings, direct mail, news media, social media, email and text messages, and updates to the project website. We do have an online survey available on the website for you to take to provide us with more comments on the project. If you have friends or neighbors that weren't able to participate in today's meeting, you can direct them to the project website where they can view a recording of the presentation and then take the online survey as well. The survey includes some questions about how to best communicate project information with you now and during construction that'll be very helpful to our team. Please submit your survey by November 1st. So again, I'd like to just thank you for participating in the development of the project. Keeping the public informed throughout the project is a priority for MDT. If you have any comments or questions at any time, please feel free to contact me. Again, I'm Brandon Coates. I'm the Public Involvement Manager with RBCI, and my email is brandon@rbci.net. and I'll be sure to direct your questions to MDT and the project team to get those answered as efficiently as possible. So that concludes our presentation portion of the meeting. Again, please feel free to ask questions through the Q&A box. And Kate, I was going to see if we have any questions that we're ready to answer now.
We do, Brandon. So we have one question from Nicholas asking, do you expect to have a weight or height restrictions for trucks during the temporary traffic control? And Brent, I'm going to pass that to you to answer.
Okay, so I don't expect us to have any height restriction. There's nothing with the configuration of traffic control, I think, that would restrict height. As far as weight, typically when we do something like this and we remove half a deck, we haven't had to have a temporary posting, but we do have to look at that as part of this next design phase. We'll, MDT has load rated a lot of their bridges, and we'll look at the load rating and what happens to basically the load distribution when we remove half that deck, and make sure we don't have to temporarily post it, restrict weight. But so we'll crunch those numbers probably early on in phase 2 and have an answer for as we come into the next public meeting. But right now I wouldn't anticipate it, but I can't give a firm answer on that.
Thanks, Brent.
Mhm.
We don't have any other questions yet, so we can wait here for a few minutes and see if anyone has any other questions.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, we'll give it a couple of minutes here. I'd just like to point out that the project website address is on the screen now. So if you go to that website address, you'll find the recording of the presentation, as well as that survey that you can take, and you could pass that link on to others as well. We would appreciate it, along with my contact information there. So I think we'll just give it another minute here, see if any other questions come in. Okay, it looks like we're not getting any other questions. So I am going to go ahead and end the presentation for today. Like I said, please feel free to contact me at any time. We will be back out to the public in the next phase in 2021. And we'll either conduct online meeting, or hopefully we'll be able to meet in person. But again, like I said, you can contact me with comments and questions at any time leading up to that time as well. So I'd like to thank you again for joining us, and hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.